Have you ever felt like your INFJ potential is trapped inside of you, just out of reach? Like you have the vision, the depth, and the insight, but something holds you back from truly becoming the INFJ you were meant to be? If so, you're not alone. Many INFJs struggle with self-doubt, perfectionism, and an overwhelming sense of responsibility. They dream of mastering their strengths, but the world often feels like it wasn't built for them. But what if there was a way to break free? What if you could step into the highest version of yourself? The INFJ with clarity, confidence, and impact. According to Peterson, the key to transformation isn't just about understanding yourself. It's about becoming the person you deeply admire. And today we're going to uncover exactly how an INFJ can do that. Let's dive in. INFJs are often described as visionaries, deep thinkers, and natural counselors. They have an intense inner world shaped by introverted intuition (NI), allowing them to see patterns, possibilities, and hidden truths. They also possess extrovert feeling (FE), which makes them deeply empathetic and tuned into the emotions of others. Peterson's psychological framework offers a roadmap for overcoming these challenges. By understanding how INFJs can apply responsibility, self-actualization, and structured discipline, they can break free from stagnation and become the INFJ they've always wanted to be. But first, we need to address the hidden obstacles that keep INFJs trapped in their own minds. INFJs are renowned for their deep insight, creative vision, and a constant drive to make sense of the world. Yet, one of their most debilitating challenges is not a lack of talent or motivation, but the overwhelming burden of perfectionism, a trap that can immobilize their creativity, stifle self-expression, and hinder personal growth. This perfectionism goes beyond the ordinary desire to do well. It is an all-consuming force fueled by internalized high expectations, fear of failure, and the constant need to align every action with an idealized vision of who they think they should be. For INFJs, perfectionism is deeply interwoven with the way they perceive themselves and the world around them. Their dominant function, introverted intuition (NI), provides them with a remarkable ability to envision the future and discern patterns that most people miss. This gives rise to an internal blueprint, a detailed, often idealized picture of how things should be. When reality fails to match this inner vision, INFJs experience intense disappointment and self-reproach. At the same time, their secondary function, extrovert feeling (FE), makes them highly sensitive to the expectations and judgments of others. INFJs feel a strong compulsion to please and maintain harmony in their relationships, which leads them to adopt exceedingly high standards, not only for themselves, but also in their interactions. The combination of a precise internal ideal and an acute awareness of external expectations creates fertile ground for perfectionism. INFJs often engage in deep and prolonged introspection. Their ability to envision every possible outcome can become a double-edged sword. Instead of using their insights to move forward, they can become trapped in a cycle of overanalysis. Every decision is scrutinized until the INFJ feels paralyzed by the fear that one misstep might shatter the carefully constructed ideal. This process, known as analysis paralysis, can lead to missed opportunities as the pursuit of the perfect solution eclipses the necessity of taking any action at all. The INFJ's inner world is a realm of high ideals. They set extraordinarily high benchmarks for themselves, often equating their self-worth with their ability to meet these standards. When their performance falls short, even by a fraction, they experience intense feelings of failure and inadequacy. This fear of not measuring up can lead to a reluctance to start new projects or ventures. The INFJ may think, if I cannot do this perfectly, I shouldn't do it at all, which prevents them from taking risks or learning from the inevitable mistakes that are part of any growth process. A significant consequence of perfectionism is procrastination. When the gap between the ideal and the achievable feels insurmountable, INFJs may delay or avoid starting tasks entirely. This self-sabotaging behavior isn't born out of laziness, but rather from a subconscious effort to shield themselves from the potential pain of failure. The thought of producing something that is less than perfect becomes so daunting that it stops them from acting, further reinforcing a cycle of inaction and self-criticism. INFJs are also prone to internalizing external expectations, often leading them to overcommit to meeting the needs and desires of others. In their quest to maintain harmony and avoid criticism, they may neglect their own aspirations and true selves. This compulsion to please, fueled by a need to be seen as competent and caring, further exacerbates their perfectionist tendencies. They end up suppressing their authentic feelings and ideas, leading to a disconnect between who they truly are and the flawless image they believe they must project. The relentless pursuit of perfection has significant repercussions for INFJs, affecting various facets of their lives. When every action must conform to an ideal standard, the fear of making mistakes inhibits experimentation. This constraint curtails creative expression and innovation. INFJs, who naturally excel in artistic, intellectual, or empathetic pursuits, often find their creative potential suffocated by the need to perfect every detail before sharing it with the world. The constant pressure to achieve perfection is mentally and emotionally draining. INFJs often endure chronic stress, as their inner critic never seems to quiet down. This perpetual state of self-judgment can lead to burnout, leaving them feeling exhausted, disillusioned, and unable to enjoy the fruits of their labor. Perfectionism can also have a detrimental effect on personal relationships. When INFJs set unrealistically high standards for themselves and others, they may become overly critical and less tolerant of imperfections. This attitude can strain relationships, leading to feelings of isolation and loneliness, as INFJs struggle to find people who match their high expectations. A critical step for INFJs is to accept that imperfection is an inherent part of the human experience. Recognizing that mistakes and failures are not only inevitable, but also valuable learning opportunities can help ease the pressure to be perfect. Instead of fixating on a flawless outcome, INFJs can focus on progress and incremental improvement. Breaking down larger aspirations into smaller, achievable steps can mitigate the overwhelming nature of perfectionism. By setting good enough milestones, INFJs can celebrate small victories along the way and build momentum, rather than waiting for an unattainable moment of perfection to begin. It is essential for INFJs to develop self-compassion and actively challenge their inner critic. The key is to start small, embrace imperfection, and redefine success as continuous progress rather than an elusive state of flawlessness. As INFJs learn to let go of the need for perfection, they pave the way for true growth, a journey where every imperfect step becomes a testament to their resilience and capacity for transformation. What is one perfectionist habit you have struggled with, and how do you plan to overcome it? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Let's support each other on this path to embracing our authentic selves and achieving true fulfillment. INFJs are renowned for their compassion and empathy, qualities that make them natural caregivers and advisors. However, this deep sense of empathy also comes with a heavy burden of responsibility. INFJs often feel an overwhelming need to support, help, and even fix those around them. This can lead to an unsustainable load, where they take on more than they can handle, leaving little energy for their own needs. At the core of the INFJ personality lies a desire to make the world a better place. Their dominant function, introverted intuition and I, allows them to perceive hidden patterns and future possibilities, while their auxiliary function, extrovert feeling, Fey, compels them to care deeply about the well-being of others. This combination often results in INFJs internalizing the problems and emotions of those they care about. They feel a personal responsibility not only for their own lives, but also for the emotional states of their friends, family, and even acquaintances. Many INFJs are raised in environments where they are encouraged to be selfless, or where they are inadvertently taught that their worth is measured by their ability to help others. Over time, this can lead to a self-imposed duty to shoulder the burdens of those around them, even when it's detrimental to their own emotional health. INFJs may struggle with setting boundaries, fearing that saying no is equivalent to abandoning someone in need. INFJs often agree to help with multiple projects, volunteer for various causes, and lend an ear to anyone who needs it, even when it means sacrificing personal time. Their inability to decline requests can lead to chronic overcommitment, where they are stretched too thin. Absorbing the problems and emotional distress of others can be incredibly draining. INFJs may feel emotionally exhausted as they continuously invest in the well-being of others while neglecting their own needs for self-care. In their drive to help others, INFJs often put their own needs on the back burner. They may sacrifice personal goals, hobbies, and even rest to ensure that everyone else is taken care of. This self-neglect can lead to burnout, resentment, and a diminished sense of self-worth. When INFJs set boundaries or admit that they are overwhelmed, they often experience intense guilt. They feel as though they are failing in their duty to support others, which can further entrench them in a cycle of over-responsibility. The consequences of carrying too much responsibility are significant. Over time, INFJs can experience burnout, a state of emotional, mental, and physical exhaustion. Burnout not only hampers their ability to help others, but also undermines their personal growth and happiness. Relationships may suffer as INFJs become increasingly irritable or withdrawn, and the very qualities that make them empathetic can turn into sources of stress and isolation. Additionally, this burden can impede their creativity and personal development. INFJs are often visionaries with rich inner lives, yet the constant preoccupation with the needs of others can leave them little time to pursue their own passions or dreams. The balance between caring for others and caring for oneself becomes skewed, leading to a diminished capacity for personal fulfillment. Learning to say no is essential. INFJs must recognize that setting boundaries is not a sign of weakness or selfishness, but a necessary step in preserving their well-being. Clearly communicating limits can help prevent overcommitment and ensure that they have the space to care for themselves. Regular self-care routines are vital. This might include meditation, journaling, physical exercise, or simply taking time to relax without the pressure of being productive. Self-care recharges the emotional batteries, enabling INFJs to be more effective in their support of others. INFJs should consider reaching out to trusted friends, mentors, or even professional counselors. Sharing their struggles with someone who understands can provide new perspectives and reinforce the idea that it's acceptable to care for oneself. Periodically, INFJs can benefit from reassessing their commitments. Identifying which responsibilities are truly necessary or aligned with their core values, and which are simply additional burdens, can help them streamline their efforts and focus on what truly matters. Accepting that they cannot fix everyone's problems is a crucial mindset shift. INFJs must understand that their value is not diminished by the limits of their capacity. Embracing imperfection in themselves and in their ability to help others can relieve some of the pressure they place on their shoulders. Learning to manage the burden of responsibility is a journey that requires self-awareness, courage, and the willingness to make tough decisions. INFJs must cultivate a balanced approach, where their natural empathy and desire to help do not come at the expense of their own health and happiness. By setting boundaries, prioritizing self-care, and rethinking their internalized sense of duty, INFJs can create a sustainable model for caring, not just for others, but also for themselves. The transformation begins with a simple yet profound shift, understanding that taking care of oneself is not an act of selfishness, but a prerequisite for being truly effective in helping others. Once INFJs learn to distribute their energy more wisely, they will not only alleviate the weight of excessive responsibility, but also enhance their overall well-being and capacity for genuine connection. Are you an INFJ struggling with the burden of responsibility? What boundaries have you set, or wish you could set, to manage your commitments better? Share your experiences in the comments, and let's explore ways to create balance together. Jordan Peterson often speaks about self-actualization, the process of becoming the best possible version of yourself. For an INFJ, this means embracing their vision instead of suppressing it, finding their voice instead of blending in, pursuing meaningful work instead of settling for mediocrity. The journey to self-actualization isn't easy. INFJs are deep thinkers, dreamers, and visionaries, but many get trapped in their own minds, held back by perfectionism, self-doubt, and emotional exhaustion. Now, I want to hear from you. What's the biggest challenge you face as an INFJ? Have you struggled with perfectionism, self-sabotage, or burnout? What steps are you taking to become the best version of yourself? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's start a discussion. And if you want more content on INFJs, self-development, and psychology, make sure to check out my other videos on Psych IQ. Let's keep growing together.